Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where real-life stories come with no script, but stay in your head long after they end. Today, you'll hear 4 stories told directly from the people who lived them, moments of love, unraveling shocking truths, and painful betrayals no one saw coming. A wife spirals into fear after the pandemic, leaving her husband unable to recognize the woman he once loved. A woman discovers her fiancé has a dark, bone-chilling secret. A woman begins to suspect her husband-to-be is hiding her simply because of the color of her skin. And a girl gets attacked by a dog, but what hurts most is her boyfriend's reaction. These stories won't just leave you stunned, they'll make you ask, if it were me, what would I do? So sit back, put your headphones on, and get ready for a psychological roller coaster filled with drama, controversy, and the rawest kind of truth. Story 1. I thought my wife would die if she stepped outside. I was dying inside our marriage. I'm a 35-year-old man. My wife is 33. We used to be an active couple, loved traveling, camping, hanging out with friends every weekend. But then, COVID hit, and our world started to shrink. First, it was Zoom calls instead of BBQ parties. Then grocery runs turned into online deliveries. Before I knew it, the outside world only existed through the living room window. At first, I thought we were doing the right thing. We followed the guidelines. But when everyone started adapting to the new normal, my wife just couldn't. She refused to step outside. Not just anxiety, full-blown fear. She believed that if we left the window open too long, something would creep in and kill her. That a single sneeze from a delivery guy could be a death sentence. Even after I got my 3 vaccine shots, she insisted I shower, change clothes, and disinfect myself from head to toe just for taking the trash out. I went along with it at first. I figured she just needs more time. But 1 month turned into 3, then a year, and now it's been nearly 4. I missed my brother's wedding. I've never met my nephew in person. My wife lost her job because she refused to return to the office. Every relationship we had has withered away. No one understands why we're living like voluntary prisoners. And I started to feel like I was drowning. I work remotely. I eat and sleep in the same 4 walls. I have no one to talk to besides my wife, and even those conversations now feel like rolling panic attacks. Anytime I bring up going out or inviting a friend over, her eyes darken and the emotional storm begins. I know this isn't about COVID anymore. This is something else. A real psychological illness. After hours of research, I'm sure of it. She has agoraphobia, the fear of open spaces and uncontrollable situations. I tried to get her to see a therapist. Her response: if I forced her to go outside, I'd be a murderer. She cried, screamed, said if I left, she couldn't go on living. I honestly don't know how much longer I can carry this weight. Last week, I did something I never thought I would. I called her parents. I begged them to convince her to get help. The result: a screaming match over the phone. She said I betrayed her, that I brought enemies into our home. That night, I stepped out onto the balcony to breathe some air. She locked the door, locked me outside. In the middle of winter, no phone, no keys. I knocked. I pleaded. 10 minutes, 20, an hour. Finally, she opened the door, eyes hollow, and said, "You wanted to be outside. I'm helping you." I stood there shivering in the cold and knew with certainty I was no longer safe in my own home. Right now, I'm in a hotel. I told her I needed some time to think, but the truth is, I've hired a lawyer. I'm not someone who gives up easily. But I also can't lose myself for someone who refuses to be helped. Thankfully, we don't have kids. But I have a life. And I want to live, not just exist in a box of concrete walls and endless fear. The most heartbreaking part, I still love her. I love the woman who used to laugh when we got splashed with cold water while camping. I love the woman who used to hold me after a bad day. But that woman is gone, swallowed by panic, paranoia, and an untreated illness. What would you do if the person you loved most disappeared before your eyes, not by dying, but by being replaced with a nameless fear? Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think the husband is heartless for abandoning his wife when she needed help? Or is staying with her the more toxic choice? If you've ever seen someone spiral after the pandemic, this story might hit closer to home than you expect. Don't forget to subscribe for more true Reddit stories. Drop a comment, your thoughts are part of the story too. And like the video if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Story 2. I was about to marry the man I thought I knew better than anyone, until I opened his phone. I'm a 24-year-old woman, and until just a few days ago, I genuinely believed I was living a real-life fairy tale. I was engaged to a 27-year-old man, gentle, intelligent, a little quiet, but full of the sweetest gestures. We'd been together for over 3.5 years, and we'd never even had a major fight. Honestly, I used to think if someone wrote a book on how to love right, we'd be the blueprint. I used to believe that. Until that night. The night he left his phone on the coffee table. The screen was still on. No lock, no password. I'm not the kind of person who snoops through my partner's phone. But that night, I don't know, maybe it was curiosity. Or maybe it was instinct. And maybe I wish I had never done it. At first, I saw a few old work photos harmless. Then I noticed a folder named something soft and vague, tranquil. I assumed it was landscapes or artsy shots or something. But when I opened it, my heart stopped. The first few photos were of corpses inside funeral homes. Men, women, elderly, children. Some looked like candid shots, others were clearly taken post-mortem. At first I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he used to work in medicine, maybe it was academic. No, these weren't medical records. This was a collection. Scrolling down, I saw other folders. Silent Allure, Beauty After Death. The Final Journey. There were videos, some with soft music in the background, some tagged and categorized. And that's when it hit me. These weren't just images. They were an obsession, a theme, something he was more deeply invested in than, well, me. I still remember how my hands were shaking when I opened his bookmarks. 2 websites, both specifically catered to sharing images, stories, and even fan fiction about corpses. And not the ghost story kind. I mean, romanticized depictions of dead bodies, like some twisted version of death porn. One story was titled, My Cold Bride. Chapter 3. A photo had the caption, She's perfect, if only she weren't dead. I couldn't breathe. What disturbed me the most was that he had never not once shown any signs of being off. He never hurt me, never acted violent, never made creepy jokes or talked obsessively about death or blood. But now I remember the subtle things I brushed off. Like the time he said funerals are the most peaceful places. Everyone's quiet. No one can hurt anyone anymore. I thought it was just a poetic musing. Now I don't know what to think. I sat on our living room floor for 2 full hours, phone still in my hand, my throat dry. I wanted to scream, I wanted to run, but above all I felt sick and terrified. The next day I didn't say anything. I just told him I was going to stay at my mom's for a few days. He didn't question it, and I spent the next 3 days researching. That's when I learned about something I wish I hadn't: necrophilia fantasy, not always acted out, but still a disturbing sexual obsession with corpses. And yes, apparently there's a whole community of people who never do anything illegal, but who romanticize it, fetishize it, live in that fantasy space. So now I have to ask myself, who have I been sleeping beside for the past 3 years? I haven't confronted him yet. I can't. I've written 5 different versions of a confrontation, deleted them all. Because honestly, I don't know if I want an explanation, or if I just want to disappear. Part of me still wants to believe this is just unresolved grief. His entire family died in a car crash years ago. Maybe this is how he's been coping. But I'm not naive enough to call this normal. So what do? If I stay, will I one day become one of the beautiful images in his collection? If I leave, am I heartless for walking away from the man I once loved over something that's technically just digital? I truly don't know anymore. What would you do if one day the person you loved the most turned out to be living in a secret world you never imagined? Is this a case of unhealed trauma or a dangerous line that should never be crossed? Would you forgive or would you run? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because some true Reddit stories stay with you long after they're told. Story 3. He said he loved me, but he couldn't walk beside me in public. I'm a 29-year-old black woman, Caribbean descent, strong, independent, and a single mom to an amazing little boy. And I thought I had finally found true love when I met my fiancé, a 44-year-old white Canadian man. We've been together for almost 3 years. He's sweet, mature, attentive in ways no other man ever was. He treats my son like his own. I truly believed love could rise above skin color, cultural differences, or past baggage. I believed that until we moved. He got a great job offer in a small city, one of those quiet, picture-perfect towns that, let's be honest, is overwhelmingly white. I knew that going in. What I didn't know was how much of a spectacle I would become. From the very first day, I felt it: the eyes, the stares, some curious, some clearly disgusted. An old woman nearly crashed into a lamppost, just trying to gawk at me crossing the street. An elderly man literally stepped off his porch to come up and stare into my car like I was an alien. I've seen that look before, and no, it's not just curiosity like my fiancé said. But what hurt me more than strangers' looks was how he started acting. The first red flag was at the grocery store. We walked in together, and suddenly he turned to me and said, "Let's split up to save time, meet at checkout." We'd always shopped side by side, pushing the cart together, making jokes about our weird food combos. But I shrugged it off, until it kept happening. At the mall, at the antique store, even at the office supply place. Everywhere we went, if it was crowded, he'd find an excuse to wander off. As if he didn't want to be seen with me. One time I was mid-sentence with him at a bookstore, turned around, and he was just gone. When I called, he texted, "Oh, sorry, I went to the restroom. Forgot to say." No, he never forgets to tell me. But now here he keeps disappearing the second people start watching us. So I started paying attention. And I realized he only acts like this in white spaces. The next day, we went to visit an old friend, a black couple from my former city. And suddenly he was affectionate again, holding my hand, wrapping his arm around me in public. No hesitation, no shame. That's when it clicked. I didn't say anything on the drive back, but that night while we were lying in bed, I asked him flat out, "Are you embarrassed to be seen with me?" He froze, then said, "No, it's not that. I just feel like you've been a little clingy lately." I laughed, a bitter, exhausted laugh, the classic gaslighting playbook. "You're imagining things. You're being too sensitive. You're clinging." I bit back and said, "No, I'm not clingy. You split from me on the street but love me in the bedroom. You love me when no one's looking. Are you ashamed of dating a black woman?" He snapped, "Don't be ridiculous. You know how important my job is around here." There it is. He works at a major media company in town where, surprise, I'm pretty sure my son and I are the only black people in a 10-mile radius. And now I get it. He's afraid. Afraid of what people might say. Afraid of how he'll look. Afraid his status will take a hit. So instead of standing by me, he chooses silence, loving me in the shadows, denying me in the daylight. And for the first time, I looked at the man I once imagined marrying, and I saw a coward. A weak, disappointing man I barely recognized. We used to talk about getting married this year. I pictured a warm, simple wedding, him standing proudly in front of my son saying, "From this day forward, you'll have not just a mom, but a dad too." Now, How can I trust a man to be a father to my child? When he won't even hold the boy's mother's hand in public, I don't know if I still love him. Or if I'm in love with who he used to be, the man who wasn't afraid of being seen with me. I'm thinking about leaving, because I can't raise my son to believe in self-respect if I keep accepting being hidden just because of the color of my skin. What would you do if the person who swore to love you unconditionally was secretly ashamed of you because your black is love still love, if it has to be kept secret? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more true Reddit stories where love isn't always as beautiful as we wish it were. Story 4. He said he loved me, but when I needed him most, he ran. I'm a 24-year-old woman, my boyfriend 25, and I have been together for 3 years. Recently, we took the big step of moving in together. It felt like we were truly building a future, planning marriage, kids, the whole dream. I thought I had found the right person. He was sweet, thoughtful, gentle. We talked about growing old together, but all it took was a single moment for everything to shatter. It happened 2 weeks ago. That day we were at his sister's house. Just a regular weekend get-together. Nothing special. We were getting ready to head out. As we stepped outside, I heard a low guttural growl. I turned around and saw a massive pit bull charging straight at me, teeth bared like knives. It had escaped through a neighbor's unlatched gate. I didn't even have time to move. The dog leapt and clamped down on my right arm. I screamed. The pain was blinding. I could feel its teeth sinking into my flesh. Blood gushed everywhere. I tried to push it off, but my arm was locked in its jaw like a steel trap. I turned my head desperate and screamed at the top of my lungs, "Help me, please!" But where was my boyfriend, not pulling the dog off me, not grabbing my hand, not even yelling? He was gone. He had run back into the house. I was left alone with this beast tearing into my arm. It took minutes before his brother-in-law finally came running out with a wooden stick. He and his wife, my boyfriend's sister, were the ones who finally got the dog off me. And even then, as they were dragging me inside, bleeding and shaking, my boyfriend, still hiding in the living room. I ended up in the hospital. The bite was deep. My arm was swollen, and the doctor said I was lucky I didn't lose mobility, but I'd be off work for at least 3 weeks. The pain was brutal. But honestly, the worst pain wasn't physical. It was emotional. When we got home, I confronted him. "Why didn't you do anything?" He stared at the floor for a moment, then said I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I'm terrified of blood. I didn't want to get bit. I sat there silent. I didn't expect him to be Superman. I didn't need him to fistfight a pit bull. But I at least expected that the man who loved me wouldn't just leave me there to die. A few days later, I moved back in with my parents. I told him I needed time. He's been calling, texting, begging me to come back ever since. I panicked. "You know I love you. Please don't let one moment ruin us." But I keep thinking, if he couldn't protect me, then what about next time? What if I'm in the delivery room bleeding, giving birth? Will he run because there's too much blood? What if there's a break-in? What if our child falls and gets hurt? Will he scream and freeze while I do everything? I talk to my parents, and of course they're on my side. But here's the truth. The pain that broke me didn't come from a dog. It came from realizing the person I thought would protect me was the first to run away. And now I see things differently. I started remembering other moments, times when things got hard and he'd just go quiet. Let me handle everything. Back then, I thought he was just chill, calm. Now I see it for what it is. He's a coward. He's passive. And when things get tough, he disappears. I don't need a man who's loud, muscular, or some action hero. I need a man who stays. Someone who holds my hand, not leaves it to be torn apart by a dog. He messaged me again yesterday. "Are you really ending this over one moment of panic?" And I replied, "No. I'm ending this because that one moment showed me everything." What do you think? Could you forgive someone who ran away when your life was on the line? Or is that one moment all you need to know that they're not the person you can rely on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more true Reddit stories where the most ordinary moments reveal the truth about the people around us. And those were today's 4 stories. What started as seemingly harmless situations ended up revealing someone's true nature. Sometimes it's not the big dramatic events that change everything. It's the way someone reacts in a fleeting moment that leaves a scar for life. Let us know what you think about the people in these stories. Who deserves blame? Who deserves sympathy? And what would you do if you were in their shoes? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Reddit Echoes, and hit the bell so you never miss a new episode of True Reddit Stories where even the smallest confessions uncover the biggest truths.